I'll stop at that point and pass the microphone back to Sandy. Thank you.
The next presenter I'd like to introduce is Dr. Karen Gail Lewis. Dr. Lewis has more than 39 years of experience as a family therapist practicing in Cincinnati, Boston, and Washington, D.C. She's been on the faculty of the University of Cincinnati Medical School, the Virginia Polytechnic Institute of Family Therapy Program, the Johns Hopkins Medical School, and the University of Santiago in Chile. She is here to talk about the gifted child and the relationships they have in the family. She's the author of a number of books, as are actually a number of our presenters. And this is Dr. Karen Gail Lewis.
I'm going to start with a confession. I'm not gifted. I'm sorry. See, I'm even apologizing. I'm also a woman, and we women tend to apologize all the time. And it is unnecessary. But I have a math equation that I'm going to ask Joe to help me with in a few minutes. Let me set the stage for you first. Actually, I want to say that pretty much everything I'm going to say overlays with each of the others, and I know you're going to be saying, so without repeating too much, but I hope you can kind of integrate some of it, because we're all taking different parts of the elephant and still sharing some very important information. Okay, I know you know this, raising one child is very challenging, right? Raising one gifted child is very challenging. There are several of you with several gifted kids, that is particularly challenging. And raising teens, talented teens, is particularly challenging. You parents need a reward, an award, not reward, an award that hasn't been designed yet. So I'm going to help you. Those of you who are right-handed, would you take your right hand and put it on your left shoulder? Those of you who are left-handed, you take your left hand and put it on your right shoulder. Now, whichever hand's on your shoulder, walk it back. You're right next to this. Walk it back. Now, pat. Okay? There is the reward, because your kids sure aren't going to give it to you until they're 40. One of the advantages of practicing for so long is I have lived long enough to have the kids come back with their kids, able to, at that point, to say they really appreciate how much their parents put up with them. So you're not getting your rewards now, but you will. But you got your pat, so when you need it. So the talking that I'm supposed to be doing is if we could separate these kids. They all live in your family, so it's all relational. It's all having to do with how you have to deal and live with these kids. But I'm going to be focusing on two lenses, really. You with your kids, and then the siblings, your children's relationship with each other. And that's a topic that isn't usually addressed. So let me start with the you with your kids. Even if you didn't know, you heard some of this already, and even if you didn't know that your child was gifted when you were young, you already were bombarded with, why do I have to do that? Isn't there a better way? Couldn't the toys go, why do they have to go in the box? Couldn't they just go in this corner? Kids are having to push you with more information, more questions that felt rude perhaps to you, felt smart alecky, and over the years, by the time they reach teen years, they become quite masters at intimidation of their parents, right? And for those of you who are gifted parents, may have a different reaction to this if you understood your own giftedness. But for so many parents, it feels like your competence is constantly being challenged. That how you are as a parent, you have the best ideas, and these gifted kids just push you in some important, painful, and embarrassing ways. And you don't always know whether it's intimidation or whether it's their brains. If they are just trying to intimidate you, that's different. They're using their brains to intimidate you. You may know the difference between that. And sometimes they're not trying to intimidate you. They're just, that's where their brain goes. So, as you heard that they are socially immature, you have to contend with two different kids inside each kid. One who is very, very bright and whose brain is far developed beyond his or her age. And then you have this very socially immature child. So here comes the math equation. I hope some of you can help me with this. Would you hold this to my hand? I need my hands. You won't have to talk with my hands. Okay, so what we have is immaturity plus gifted brain plus
What was the second word?
gifted brain plus teenage hormones equals psycho definitely, others, I heard other comments. Devastation. It is tough. You have my greatest sympathy. And as I said, by the time they are 40, you will be so pleased. I know how I look. I promise you, money back guarantee. If I'm around in 40 years, what's my 67? That means, whoops. No. Okay. Math is not my strong suit. I already pointed that out. And we haven't even talked about ADD yet. So throwing that into the mix. Okay. So we already know that you parents deserve something that you just have to count on yourself and your family and friends and your hand on your back to keep telling you, keep going. The second lens I want to talk about is the lens for the siblings. And as I say, this is not often addressed. There are two parts that I want to talk about. One is competition, and the other is protectiveness. When you have, let's start with competition. That's such a dirty word, right? Parents, in the best of intentions, want to not make your kids feel bad because one can do something better than the other. So you guide them in another direction. It makes you feel bad for them. It makes you feel like you're doing something good by the one who sits on the bench because he's never called into play. You move into piano or music or something else. It makes you feel like you're doing something helpful. It doesn't fool the kids. They still know they're not as good as their brother or sister. Somehow we decided the competition is a naughty, bad word, as opposed to a neutral fact. Kids are gifted. They have blue eyes. They got their blue eyes from their mother. They got their thick hair from their, I don't have thick hair. They got their thick hair from their grandfather. They got their IQ or their gifted intelligence in some areas from someone else. It's a neutral fact. When you don't talk about the gifted in the family, it becomes a big deal. Kids are still, they know it, they're wondering about it. When you talk about it, you neutralize it. And you put it into, it's just one of those things. Each of you have your own areas in which you will find that works well for you. And this is the area for this particular child who is called gifted. Okay, that could be very provocative, and maybe during the discussion, y'all would want to challenge me on that, and that's fine. I'd love to hear some feedback and thoughts. But the other issue I want to talk about siblings has to do with protectiveness. Now, this isn't true for all families. This isn't true for all kids, but if you were seeing this, it'll help you know what you're seeing, possibly. Now, I should tell you that the book I'm working on right at this moment is on siblings and on protectiveness. So if you would like to stay till next month, I can tell you all about it, I'd be glad to. Otherwise, I'm just going to provide two things. Okay? You want the whole deal, or you want just two little things? That's what I thought. Okay. The gifted child may be uncomfortable about being more gifted than a sibling. Don't get confused whether but he doesn't like his sister or she doesn't like her brother. You don't necessarily know, just because they look like they don't like each other doesn't mean that they don't like each other. You probably know that.